Hi, it's Katrina. Some wild animals are so cuddly and adorable you can't help but wish you could take them home with you. But it's usually best not to act on that desire, and you're about to learn why. Here are 9 pets that are illegal to own, and for good reason. Number 9. Hyenas. Hyenas are feared throughout the world and are considered extremely dangerous. While many people admire them and there are many forums talking about taming them and domesticating them, having a hyena is not a good idea. They are wild animals and vicious scavengers. Stories from East and Southern Africa abound about how the hyenas have no fear and will chew you up in a matter of minutes. The spotted hyena has a bite force of about 1,100 pounds per square inch to be able to munch on bones. In comparison, lions have a bite force of about 600 psi. National Geographic reported on the hyena man named Abbas Yusuf from Ethiopia who used to throw scraps to lure the hyenas away from his livestock. Only in the city of Harar do people and hyenas seem to live peacefully with one another. The tradition of trusting each other has been earned and passed on by generations and goes beyond the natural order. And that doesn't mean that they have been domesticated. Also famous are the hyena men of Nigeria. Everywhere else in the world considers these creatures very opportunistic and very wild and must be respected from a distance. While you could technically get one in certain states with a special license, as with other exotic animals, it doesn't mean that you should. Just check out Fatal Attractions on Animal Planet. A hyena in an apartment is just not a good idea and not fair to the animal. Number 8. Bats. In the U.S., federal laws protect several bat species from both being killed and being kept as pets. As I'm sure you can imagine, these protections present confusing and stressful situations for homeowners facing an invasion by a colony of bats, and they are disappointing for bat lovers. To say there's a good reason for these laws would be an understatement, however. Bats are exceptionally intelligent creatures who are not only capable of making decisions in their own best interest, but who definitely belong in the wild, where they can move about freely, access fresh air, and behave as nature intended. Actually, this goes for all animals. When they're taken as pets, they don't tend to do well. They don't understand why they are suddenly trapped. Losing their freedom is terrifying and threatening, and being stuck in a cage or a room is the equivalent of being locked in a dungeon. This feeling never goes away. Put simply, bats aren't meant to have their lives controlled by someone else, including humans, and are incapable of being happy in captivity. They play a vital role in their local ecosystems and can also live for up to 25 years, longer than most people are prepared to care for an animal, much less one that's not meant to be confined. Plus, bats are known to carry over 60 human-infecting viruses, including rabies, SARS, and possibly even Ebola, and contact between the two species should therefore be as limited as possible. It's for these reasons that the American government has banned the ownership and killing of bats and requires a permit from the Center for Disease Control and Prevention for their transport. Number 7. Penguins. Contrary to popular belief, penguins can survive outside Arctic conditions in milder climates. Plus, with their adorable waddle and seemingly docile demeanor, it makes sense that someone might want to have one as a pet. I mean, we've all seen Happy Feet and Mary Poppins. All 18 penguin species are protected under an international treaty called the Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species of Wild Fauna and Flora. Some species, such as the African and Galapagos penguins, are also protected under the Endangered Species Act. Even researchers who observe and interact with penguins and their eggs in the wild as part of their profession and who want to collect a specimen are required to defer to the Scientific Committee for Antarctic Research for approval. Under no circumstances is there a good reason for a person to own a pet penguin. They're social animals that live in large colonies. Owning just one or a few won't meet their socialization needs, and an entire colony, which would consist of 20 or more penguins, would need more space than any one person could reasonably provide. Penguins also eat a lot, and often. They prefer fresh fish, and in the quantities at which they consume it, even the local supermarket probably couldn't keep up with the demand. This would also obviously be very expensive. Like most wild species, penguins simply can't be domesticated. Caring for them is beyond the scope of most people's abilities, and many people question whether they even belong in zoos and marine parks, which is why these birds are strictly protected under international law. Number 6. Sugar gliders. Sugar gliders are related to flying squirrels, and at first glance, these nocturnal creatures seem very cute and harmless, often leading to the mistaken belief that caring for one is easy. This is simply not the case. For starters, sugar gliders live for at least a decade on average. One thing many people fail to consider when getting an exotic pet is its potential lifespan. In addition to the 10-plus year commitment that comes with owning a sugar glider, prospective guardians should be prepared to cater to their very specific nutritional needs. Their food must be prepared fresh daily and must conform to their complex dietary demands, and they are messy. Besides being finicky eaters, sugar gliders are selective about the company they keep and may not be comfortable with their owner having other pets. If a pet sugar glider falls ill, chances are the local veterinarian won't be prepared to treat them. Sugar gliders typically require specialized medical care, and anyone who's thinking about getting one should make sure that this is available in their area and that they can afford it. Like many exotic pets, sugar gliders pose a potential threat to the native ecosystems where their owners live. If too many of them get loose, it could wreak havoc on endemic wildlife. Several states have outlawed the ownership of sugar gliders, including California, Alaska, Hawaii, Massachusetts, New Mexico, Utah, and Minnesota. In some other states, such as Pennsylvania, a permit is required. And now for number 5. But first, be sure to subscribe and click the notification bell if you haven't already. And wanted to give a big shout out to some of our awesome subscribers. Be sure to click that button and join the Origins Explained family. Number 5. Big cats. Let's face it, as fierce as lions, tigers, leopards, and other big cats are, they are also beautiful and adorable, especially as cubs. It's understandable why someone might want to own one. Since pet ownership is often governed by state law in the United States, the rules for keeping big cats as pets vary throughout the country. Owning big cats is banned in 21 U.S. states under legislation outlawing dangerous exotic pets. Some states, such as Pennsylvania, Texas, and Montana, require a permit for the ownership of big cats. The 5 states that allow people to own big cats without a permit are Nevada, Alabama, Wisconsin, North Carolina, and South Carolina. In some states, the laws are less straightforward. For example, in Florida, big cats are considered Class 1 wildlife, meaning they pose a serious threat to the safety of humans, and private ownership is illegal. A commercial permit is required for someone to possess an animal that falls into the Class 1 wildlife category. Ambiguous interpretations of statutes meant to protect big cats often result in difficulty enforcing these laws, meaning that these animals frequently end up in the care of unqualified owners. Regardless of where you live, owning a big cat is generally a bad idea. Most people are ill-equipped and incapable of caring for these beautiful felines, leading to the exploitation, neglect, and abuse of many animals, whether the mistreatment is intentional or not. These situations jeopardize the health and safety of both the animal and the caretaker. If a big cat is going to be in human hands, they should be in the care of a professional handler. The most ideal way to admire big cats is at a distance, preferably in their natural habitat. Number 4. Alligators. Much like with big cats, laws revolving around alligator ownership vary from one location to the next. Having a pet alligator is outright illegal in many states, for the obvious reason that they are very dangerous animals. Even in the absence of this common-sense ban, owning an alligator is a bad idea for most people, and for the same exact reason, they're dangerous. These crocodilians are the apex predator in their natural habitats, and that's probably where they should stay, as one could easily kill an adult human. They also require more space than most people can provide in the form of a secure enclosure. A bathtub in an apartment is just not enough. In most states where owning an alligator is allowed, the caretaker assumes full liability for the animal's actions. In other words, if your pet gator bites someone's foot off, you are legally required to take the blame. Additionally, be prepared for regular inspections of your alligator's habitat by local wildlife authorities. Their goals are to monitor the animal's welfare and prevent it from escaping. Anyone who lacks the specialized knowledge and resources required for the care of an alligator has no business owning one, even if it's technically legal. What do you guys think? Would you have a pet alligator? Do you think your neighbor should be allowed to have one? Let me know in the comments. Number 3. Monkeys. In the U.S., state law dictates the legality of primate ownership, similarly to big cats and alligators. It's illegal to own a monkey in Maine, New York, California, New Mexico, Arizona, and several other states. Having a pet monkey is permitted in 12 states, including Nevada, Oklahoma, Kansas, Nebraska, Wisconsin, Michigan, and some others. Other states require a permit. Many of the states that permit people to own monkeys require prospective owners to undergo an arduous and expensive application and requirement process. For example, to have a pet monkey in Florida, an applicant must take a written exam, provide letters of reference, have experience working with primates, and prove that their property can accommodate the animal. Meanwhile, most of the 4,500 primates owned throughout the UK are in the care of regular pet owners rather than trained professionals, as private ownership of primates is technically legal there. You don't need me to tell you that monkeys need specialized care. Most private homes cannot replicate the free roam environment monkeys require or cater to their extensive social and dietary needs. State laws throughout the U.S. are increasingly reflecting the belief that unless you have plenty of time and money at your disposal and education, you shouldn't have a pet monkey, or that people shouldn't own monkeys, period. Number 2. The slow loris. Slow lorises are small, nocturnal primates endemic to Southeast Asia and northeastern India. They are super cute, and although it's illegal to export them, they can be purchased in certain countries, including Russia and Japan. So why not? Well, first things first, buying a smuggled animal is inherently harmful and unethical. It encourages the continuation of illegal trafficking, thus putting more animals directly in harm's way. Every nation with a naturally occurring slow loris population has laws protecting the species, which is endangered primarily by international trade. Slow lorises that end up on the black market are viciously ripped from their environment. During transport, they endure horrific conditions. Their back teeth are often removed by their traffickers so that they don't bite, causing great pain to the animal. Videos were going around of how cute a slow loris was acting while being tickled. This is actually a defense mechanism as they try to get the venom secreted from a gland in their upper arm with saliva to deliver a venomous bite. Even most zoos, especially in North America, choose not to have a slow loris exhibit. They are difficult to care for and to breed, and they suffer outside their natural habitat. Captivity prevents the slow loris from engaging in natural behaviors, including nocturnalism, traveling long distances, and acquiring the insects and fruits that make up its complex diet. It's not their fault that they're cute, so everyone wants one. But trust me, it's for the best. Check out International Animal Rescue to learn more. Number 1. The Burmese Python. Local ecosystems within the state of Florida are becoming increasingly threatened by rapidly growing populations of invasive species. One way non-native species ended up taking over Florida's habitats was through the release of exotic pets that owners could no longer care for. Can't handle your boa? Did your python outgrow its tank? What's the big deal? Let it out into the Everglades to fend for itself, no problem. Well, now we have a big problem. This was certainly the case for Burmese pythons, which grow between 6 and 9 feet long. Many were kept as pets until they became too big for their owners to properly handle or accommodate their need for space. Instead of rehoming their pet pythons with a more qualified caretaker, owners simply released them into the wild. The Burmese python population throughout the Everglades in South Florida has exploded, and the results are disastrous. Besides posing a threat to native wildlife, these huge snakes have harmed and killed humans, including children. The Florida Fish and Wildlife Commission took several measures to counter the problem. The agency encourages residents to humanely kill Burmese pythons that slither onto their private property, and also reminds the public on its website that the snakes can be hunted on several public lands throughout South Florida. In 2010, ownership of Burmese pythons was banned in Florida. Anyone who already owned one was allowed to keep it for the remainder of its lifespan, but Floridians can no longer acquire them as pets. To prevent people from releasing their snakes into the wild to avoid getting in trouble with the law, the state also enacted a 24/7 amnesty law, which allows residents to turn in their exotic pets without any legal consequences. Thanks for watching! Would you ever have any of these as a pet? Do you know about any organizations that help animals that you would like to share? Let us all know in the comments below. Remember to subscribe, and I'll see you next time.